Hi, and welcome back to Douche-Cast. I'm Kai, again joined by Brendan and Dylan.
Die.
As always.
Brendan is... No, it's not Brendan. Dylan is sick, so he will sound kind of like shit. He'll sniffle here and there. He might mute his mic even just to cough or sneeze, whatever. But
Okay, you didn't have to share that detail. I don't think anyone
Yeah,
cares.
just dox his fucking biological health.
he sounds like
Anyone's gonna
absolute,
give a fuck.
absolute dog water, dog piss, everything that you can think of that is bad.
I could always just not edit our videos.
Okay?
Yeah, you're really flaming the editor here. He's kind of carrying all of these. I wouldn't push him too much.
But he's sick. I thought it'd be known just to... Okay. Anyways, this is
Anyways,
episode 5, yes?
yeah, I think it's 5.
All right. Welcome to anyone who listens to these. Probably nobody. Today we're gonna be talking
17
about
people at least.
yeah, we're gonna be talking about creepypasta stuff, things that along the line of like the Wendigo, things like that, Bigfoot, that kind of thing.
Some,
Other
like scary stories and stuff.
folk
Some little silly campfire stories.
things that are like folklore related, basically, and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And
But first, first and foremost, that's just something that there's an elephant in the room that needs to be addressed, and so somebody just got to tell them, right? Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get
Right.
it.
Well, here's the thing, boys. Justin Roiland did nothing wrong.
all right, I think it's our first time where that's a bit of a yikes.
Hey, you said something. You said Moist Critical is mid, and I think that's where we lost all of our viewers, all 7 of them.
Yeah.
But
let's
shout
just-
out
let's
to
just
whoever
somehow get
stayed,
negative
baby.
views.
Anyways,
We're gonna like
Anyways,
erase
Morty-
the video from our minds.
Starting to tell
Smooth
some
views.
scary stories.
all right, so me and Dylan did some research on this because we're cool as fuck, and Brendan will basically kind of be like the bystander in this, ask the general questions that would a regular person might, I think, somewhere around there. So, Dylan,
What the fuck?
What is
Are you,
that?
are you trying to say? Are you trying to start shit?
anyways, Dylan, do you want to go first, or should it be me?
I kind of got like 2 stories, so I could go, and then you could do yours, because I know you got a
All right,
lot on
all right.
yours. You know what I mean?
Pop off, King. Go ahead.
Never again, please,
Okay.
for love of God. Uh, yeah. Back to you, Kai. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Fucking stupid bit. I sat down in my chair for a second, and then I have to immediately get back up.
What?
I mute my mic whenever I'm not speaking, so I can just, like, not have background noise.
Oh, I thought you meant like you stand while you record, and I was like, are you serious right now?
No, I like lean back and everything. My chair is like, and back to Kai.
I see. Well,
Wow,
anyways,
this intro fucking sucks.
Yeah,
enough of
kinda-
the enough of the Kaibash recording lore. I have 2 stories to bring up today, both of which are technically German folklore, but I'm just gonna say European folklore, aka just stories and like, yeah, stuff like that. That's pretty much made up, but also weirdly, just super creepy. First of which is Krampus, which pretty much everyone should know. If you don't, okay. Second of which is the White Lady, which I don't know. It's
The
kind of
White Lady
interesting.
is a very interesting one because I know there was a movie done about it. I think it's Don't Tell Scary Stories in the Dark or something like that. It was
Yeah.
a movie about where like they had these books of short stories and everything that came to life if you read them. And I know in the White Lady one, she looked like really like ugly and everything like that, but she's always been seen as kind of like a good omen or like a warning that something bad is going to happen. Not that she's the one who's going to do it, but that they're in danger, so that they should leave their like immediate vicinity and go somewhere else. And if they ignore the warning, usually something bad happens. Whether or
Pretty
not
much.
it's the White Lady who does it or if it's something else that does it, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So I'll probably start with the White Lady. I feel like it's a little bit shorter. There's a lot more lore to Krampus. Pretty much the White Lady is, like ideally, apparently, it's mainly reference to a woman by the name of Anna Sido or something like that.
PSA,
AKA
mispronunciations are going to be shit. Please do not flame us.
Yeah, there's so many German names and stuff in here, and yeah, I'll try my best. All right, we'll see what happens. But anyways, She was called the White Lady of Spandau Citadel, which was this like European fortress built way back when, like I think it was late 1500s or something like that, and like I don't know. It was used during World War II. That was the other thing I forgot. Like as a base and fortress for like pretty much all of history, and so now it's like a tourist spot. And there's also a story
Oh,
of like
okay. It took me seconds. It took me seconds to connect. I thought you said world. I thought you when you said it. I thought you said uh, World War II took place in the 1500s. I was like, what the fuck are you
no,
talking about?
no,
Average Dylan things, you know what it is.
it was built in like the 1500s. It was
Yeah, no, I get it. And then it
part of
was
like
used in World War II. Yeah.
yeah, a couple wars in like 1800s and then World War II, and there's a lot of history to it. So now it's a tourist site, and they like try to preserve it and stuff. And then people kept like seeing sightings of like or reports of people seeing some sort of white lady or lady in white, some sort of spirit that would like haunt the grounds. And so people started doing research and stuff like that, and going around the grounds, people ended up finding like bones and stuff and remnants of her. She ended up figuring out it was her in a prison. So they found her story, and pretty much uh, she was the daughter of some pretty important people. Pretty much, I don't want to go into too much depth on them. And the king of Brandenburg, Joachim II, I think it was second. Yeah, it was the second. They got married pretty much, even though he was already married to someone else. Not going to try and pronounce that at all.
Not even a bother.
And
Fuck
so they went and lived just outside of Berlin for a while, and they had two children. Their son died at, what was it, 9 years old? And their daughter was Magdalene of Brandenburg, or the Countess of Arneberg, for people who care. Uh, Joachim succumbed to illness, and he had his son pretty much. He told his son, like, "Yo, take care of my wife because I'm literally about to die." Like,
that. You said it exactly like that. Like, yo,
and then
you take care of my homies.
yeah, what happened was his son said, "All right, I will." As soon as Joachim died, he said skill issue and threw Anna in prison, and then arranged a random marriage for Anna's daughter. That was like the Magdalena Brandenburg, whatever. And Anna was like, "What the heck, bro?" But she was in prison, so she couldn't do anything. Then she died in prison. And
Even more of a skill issue.
yeah, when all that sort of bad stuff happens and whatnot, and especially in folklore, it tends to be their spirit stays there and haunts that place. And so that's why people still see her sometimes, and she's dressed as,
And that is
in all
just
white.
like that is just one. Sorry, I'm adjusting my mic real quick. Ugh. That is just one like legend that comes from Germany. There's also like light. I can't think of it. White lady sightings. There we go. They've been seen all over the world, from Estonia to Czechia to Canada and Brazil as well. There are a lot of legends. Like I think at one point and during the Conjuring episode, we talked about La Llorona. She's considered to be the White Lady from Mexico. There's that's just at least one thing for there. There's even some in the UK and in the United States. There's a shitload all over. But the big one,
Damn, this bitch travels.
yeah, the big one though that I can find on Wikipedia, like, is Germany. She has like the most fucking like detailed information about her in Germany, and oh my god, dude, there is just so much here. What the
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And that's why I was saying, like, with the folklore and everything, people who have those sort of circumstances happen tend to stay and haunt them, which was going to lead me to my next point, which you pretty much just made, is, like, the White Lady then turned into just, like, just a sort of title, almost. And so there's, like, so many stories like La Llorona, just all over the world, that end up also being, like, the White Lady. But I think one of the origins and the main stories was from Anna Sido.
So that name is it more like just a title
The
No,
white
I think
lady.
it started as like yeah, it started as like one thing,
Pretty
I would
much.
and then
say
it just kind of turned into like a mantle.
I'd
Yeah.
say it's more of like a universal title, yeah, because like La Llorona, of course, is called the White Lady. There's others who are called that as well. I think it just depends on where you grew up, who the White Lady means to you, like what that means to you.
Yeah. And like
Man, they unoriginal.
they
On
they
God,
tend
on God.
to have like they're all women obviously, and they tend to have similar circumstances.
Like
Uh,
I remember La Llorona. It was a husband cheating case, I believe, is what that one was. A husband cheated on a wife, and so the wife, in her rage, killed his sons, drowning them in the lake, and then regretted her actions. And she's been seeking the souls of children to replace her sons for like years at this point. That's her tale, but a lot of those revolve just around cheating.
yeah, just really bad stuff. Or like in this case, it was uh, Joachim died, and his son was just like built different apparently.
Just decided to be a dick.
Yeah, for
No, he
like
was on that top G
no
mindset.
like I couldn't find a reason anywhere as to why he necessarily did that. He just did. Maybe he didn't like Anna very much, or like I don't
Hmm.
know. Me,
I don't like your entire
It
presence.
could also
Keep going.
be it was forgotten or it just wasn't written down, I guess. And
maybe yeah, or yeah, but that's pretty much
Imagine
just some
being
of
the
it.
dude that had to like rewrite that event. It's like, yeah, and then for some fucking reason, this dickhead threw her in prison.
Yeah,
She's like, yeah, I really don't know what was going on that day. I don't think he took his meds, or I don't know.
yeah. There's like yeah, there's probably some movies on it. There's people have made like creepypasta videos, obviously, and like fake YouTube videos of like sightings of white ladies just everywhere. And there's I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure there's a Goosebumps book on it. There's references to her in like so many folklore books and regular books as well. Literally like not to be weird or anything and bring up high school, but college prep we read a book. Oh my gosh, what was it called?
you
Oh,
money.
it's called The Turn of the Screw, and there was literally a white lady in there.
Hmm.
I mean, there's several
Yeah,
white
so it
women,
is
but
just kind of a name that's tossed around or evenly spread out throughout the world. Just kind of depends on where you were.
yeah, has like a meaning to it. Just it's kind of given to people who had the same
Yeah,
circumstances.
different cultures.
Now, one thing that is not really like anywhere else besides mainly America is, of course, the Wendigo. I know that was a great like bridge, isn't it? Like amazing.
No,
Anyways,
Oh, do we just want to do that?
do you want to, or do you have more on your white lady?
not really. I kind of generalize it as much as I could. There, like we could tell other stories, obviously, like Rona,
La
or like
Llorona. None of
other
us can.
You
ones.
can
And
tell we're white because we can't pronounce any Hispanic names.
yeah, but yeah, there's not much else to say. So you go for it, bud.
So I'm going to give a description of the Wendigo. So make of it what you will. Quote: Gaunt to the point of emaciation, its desiccated skin pulled tightly over its bones. With its bones pushing over its skin, its complexion the ash gray of death, and its eyes pushed back deep into the sockets, the Wendigo looked like a gaunt skeleton recently disinterred from the grave. What lips it had were tattered and bloody, unclean and suffering from suppurations of the flesh. The Wendigo gave off the strange and eerie odor of decay and decomposition, of death and corruption. Quoted from the Manitus, I can't really pronounce it that well, or aka the spiritual world of the Ojibwe by Basil Johnston.
Hmm.
It's
So,
yeah, sorry.
oh, you first.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say. So, with the entire like, with everything with Wendigos, is it kind of like unanimously agreed that like the face is kind of like a deer
No,
skull?
no, that is actually very, very incorrect, which I will be getting to. So the Wendigo, I do have this in my notes. So Wendigo, for instance, comes from the word ween dago, or solely for self, which means they have no concern for whatever cravings hurts people, because Wendigos are born out of someone's consumption of human flesh. It's usually hunters who are Native Americans specifically, who couldn't survive during the winter, and they resorted to eating their family members. And they were then immediately, like, it was thought that their hearts became like ice, cold.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell? All right, sorry. Their ice, the hearts became like ice, and then they would never be the same again. Nothing could ever warm their hearts again. They were usually either killed or ostracized, and then, like, shunned from their communities, all that kind of stuff. They weren't seen as people anymore. But there's no real, like, descriptions of them. The descriptions that we know of them just kind of come from the imagination of white people, which, in general, the look that you're thinking of where it came from, such introduced to us, was from a guy named Algernon Blackwood in a book called The Wendigo, which was written in 1910, about 113 years ago. Is the actual same story that's used in Until Dawn, set in the same setting on Mount Blackwood for the video game. The main, like, story of that involves, like, a hunting party of, like, a doctor, his nephew Simpson, Hank Davis, a guide, and Joe DeFago, who was another guide. They were both, like, friends with each other, and they were both native. And they also had, like, another guy with them called Punk, who was, like, a cook. They went on some, like, trip to go hunting, and they weren't very successful with it. So they were on one side of a lake, and this is where, like, this was all written, and this is where the idea of all this comes from, is they were on one side of a lake, and they couldn't find any hunting, so they decided to go to the other side. Both guides were a little bit nervous and timid to go, so only Joe DeFago and Simpson, aka the nephew, went to the other side. And while they were there, in the middle of the night, while they're just sitting there, Simpson wakes up because he's cold, and he realizes the tent door is open, and Joe DeFago is sitting there, crying to himself, and he's freezing. He has his feet out in the, as if they've been just, like, pulled or something like that. They're out of the tent, and he's just sitting there crying to himself. And he is, like, terrified. Everything about him is terrified. I'm telling the original story of the Wendigo, yeah. And after they had he eventually decided to just go, back to sleep, because he thought, oh, well, eventually, whatever. He tried to snap him out of it, tugs, pulls, nothing. He was bundling up to himself, and he wouldn't say a goddamn word, sitting there scared out of his goddamn mind. And then Simpson heard a voice. It was one he had never heard before. It was rough and demanding, but also sweet and sincere at the same time. It's really, really weird. It screamed out 3 distinct notes: D, Fa, Go, which means the Wendigo knew who the fuck was there, which is a bit. And before Simpson could even process it, he fucking bolted out, screamed. He bolted like he had no control. DeFago ran, crying out about his feet feeling like fire, like they were on fire. And, he had found some animal tracks trying to find out where DeFago went, but while he was following the tracks of his friend, he really noticed that the strides were getting longer and longer until they were upwards of 18 feet apart between each other. So where he would find one footprint, 18 feet apart, he'd find his other one. And it made no sense. The print would become larger and longer, and the footsteps then stopped cold. He then heard DeFago's voice cry out above him about his feet again, searching for hours, but finding nothing. Every snapped twig and cold blast of air felt like a beast was out there, and the whole journey back to camp after he went looking for his friend and his guide was just pure torture and pain of thinking something was hunting him.
Wait, so, like,
I couldn't imagine.
Did it take some of the people? Sorry, I think I missed this. Did it take someone? And that's what he was running after? Or what?
So the beast called out his name, DeFago, and it was like it was against his own will that DeFago had to run to the beast.
Oh, and so that's what DeFago did, and then...
He ran, and eventually it started to seem like DeFago was the fucking Wendigo. Like, he started...
Like DeFago's footsteps started doing that?
Yeah, DeFago's footsteps went from being regular to being longer and, bigger and striding. And he kept crying about his feet feeling like they were on fire. Because
no.
Yeah.
No, dude.
And, as he was...
So wait, he turned into one?
Yeah, that's the idea, at least. I'll get to it. And this story still does keep going. Now, as he went back to camp, and started to make a fire, he stood there all night, and he eventually headed back home to home camp across the water, even in the dark, because he just did not want to be there by himself. His cries when he got to the shores alerted his uncle and the cook, of course, telling him his story, but they, of course, doubted him, thought he was going nuts. And they all agreed they were going to try to find him the next day. And all day, they went back to look, but all day was a waste, deciding to wait one more day to look for him. And at night, Simpson filled them in even more on what it was like. And this is to quote, right, from the book itself of the doctor's nephew, Simpson. The Wendigo is the call of the wild personified. The voice, they say, resembles all the minor sounds of a bush wind, falling water, cries of the animals, and so forth. And once the victim hears that he's off for good. Of course. His most vulnerable points, moreover, are said to be the feet and the eyes. The feet for the lust of wandering, and the eyes for the lust of beauty. The poor beggar goes at such a dreadful speed that he bleeds beneath the eyes, and his feet burn till they drop off, and new ones form exactly like its own. To quote.
Jeez.
This book is like really.
Jesus.
This book is dark.
Dropped that out of nowhere.
Yeah. And this is the last little paragraph I have of it, which ends the story of it. Both Doctor and Punk, of course, aka the cook, are scared after this. Simpson stands and screams at the top of his lungs, which Defago is then heard. Like, he just does this out of nowhere. He stands up and he fucking screams. And Defago is then heard screaming once again about his feet over the forest. Then feet are heard falling down the trees and landing with a thud. And a shadowy figure emerges like it's being controlled with wires. In an instant, it rushes towards them. Simpson looks like it's about to pounce on him, but instead he saw Defago's face. It didn't look like him at all. It was like someone was underneath his face or wearing his face as a mask. But they were all too afraid to see what's underneath. And Defago simply, stops and, not stopped. He started running at them still, but they all watched him from a distance as they did. And eventually he was tackled by the doctor, but he managed to get away, only hearing the screams die in the distance of Defago as he ran away. They all waited at the fire till morning, and they all handled this very, very differently. That's where my summary of this ends.
Jeez, dude.
In the end, they did find Defago again, if I remember correctly, and Defago was found as if he was missing a soul. He didn't know anything. Like, he just wasn't a person when he was found. He had like an empty...
So he got like lobotomized.
He had like no shell of a person at all. He couldn't speak. He couldn't, form memories, nothing. And he died a few days later because he couldn't eat food either. He just simply died from it. And that is like the big story of where the Wendigo comes from, of like them being beasts, like the skull, antlers, and everything like that. That is where that comes from. So I summarized it, and I didn't quote it as much, of course, because some of the quotes are a bit more creepy than the one I've quoted. And also, to help finish it off a little bit, Wendigos are like, the Wendigo psychosis is actually officially realized in the APA Psychological Association. They see it as a very real thing that occurs mostly in Indians living in Canada and northeastern United States. AKA, it's said to be a condition where you get the drive to eat human flesh.
Oh, so it's just a cannibalistic urge.
Mm-hmm. And that's basically what the Wendigo came from, at least the one that we know. Where it, if I'm thinking about it correct, this is a quote from the John Hunter, or White Indian as he was known. He lived among the Ojibwe and Chippewa tribes for about 30 years and described this exact scenario happening of what a Wendigo is with these tribes. It says, a rather insignificant person and a poor hunter eating his own wife because of hunger, and the Indians had wanted to kill him at the time as being unworthy to live. At least that's the quote of it. And the only thought to kill them is that they had to burn them because it was thought that your ice was, your heart was like ice.
The only way to purify it, embalming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh,
it was the ultimate betrayal, and you could never ever be anyone else after that. You were just a Wendigo. You were possessed as a spirit to forever crave human flesh, and you were forever just cast out and shown to be nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's your story of the Wendigo.
Huh.
Something about the Wendigo. Sorry to interrupt you, Dylan.
No.
Something about the Wendigo that's always interested me is there's so many like different iterations, be it folklore wise or TV show wise. It has like so many different variations of what it looks like that it just gets lost in translation.
Hmm.
Like I was saying earlier, how I thought it was just like a deer skull. You know what I
It
mean?
was generally believed, like, this is the only thing I could find about descriptions for them in real life, is that they were seen as very pale and very skinny with like very long and pointy fingernails that they would use to slash at people. Because once they ate flesh, they started to become more beast like. But being taller, stronger, and all that kind of stuff wasn't really much of a thing as far as I could tell. And all these stories, like
Yeah.
the Wendigo story, for example, is just a story of what never to do. They just told this to kids, of course, like every story, to scare them into thinking never do this. Otherwise, that will happen to you.
Scare tactic.
Mm-hmm. But
And I think the oh
oh
sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I should say one of the shows that comes to mind that now that I know more about it describes the creature more accurately than most is Supernatural.
Supernat.
I'm assuming y'all have seen the Wendigo episode.
Yeah, I have. I think in that one, the
I have not.
Wendigo hunted very like the at least in the story that I described is how it was. Because like I remember it was very fast in the TV show. It was very powerful. Like in an instant.
Oh, the Wendigo got his ass.
Yeah, on God. He's been talking about it too much.
You there, Kai?
Uh, uh, uh.
Oh.
Huh. I only
Um.
remember. I'll just try and continue off and.
Yeah, yeah. Try and branch off. Well, what do we know? What do we know? Fuck, fuck.
Uh,
Scary creature.
yeah, like my only knowledge prior to just hearing this, like the actual like OG story, quote unquote, um,
Hmm.
it's just yeah, just like random sightings of like there's somewhat like I don't know, generally shared like qualities or whatever between each of these like creatures or
Iterations.
beasts or whatever. But yeah, and then like there was the stories and like the folklore side that seemed very real and whatnot and like may have actually happened and seemed more like
Mm-hmm.
I mean yeah whatever. But then there's like
I
people have used it in Hollywood horror
Oh,
movies and
there
like
he is.
TV shows and made them just like these giant monster beings whatever that there's like a person
Yeah,
attached to or
monsters,
whatever.
fucking Hulk-like
I
beings that can just decimate God given the
I,
chance.
I
Yeah.
like the idea though more of that they are like human like because it tricks you into thinking like when you see a regular person on most people would just be like okay it's just a regular guy like you don't have anything to fear because they've done nothing for you to fear for them. But it's the idea that they're more pale skinned, that they look different, and that you can tell that something's wrong with them because they probably will try to attack you is what's scary about it. That's like I like the whole idea of they could be like giant, that are like really powerful and they have like, the manipulation of everything. They're like the call of the wild. They are the forest
Mm-hmm.
and like the hunt personified. That's cool. And it's very, it's scary in some occurrences, but I like the idea that it's just human, that it is clearly a human who is
Yeah,
starving and has no other choice, or it feels they have no other choice.
I think that
I've
makes it more scary honestly.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. With things like the Wendigo and all that, I found it a lot more creepy when the monster itself is like it presents itself as human. Like there's like a psychological aspect to it.
I
You
mean,
know what I
if I'm
mean?
gonna be honest,
Like it appears weak.
it's a quick derailment of this is a TV show, not a TV show, it's a movie. It's the clown Pennywise. The whole
Mm-hmm.
idea is that it doesn't know that clowns can be seen as creepy. It just feels like it lures in kids because it looks nice. And then as soon as the kids are lured in, fucking chomp, dead, instantly.
I kind of like that
Yeah.
story of it and like Pennywise and that whole like alien thing. It's pretty insane actually, to me
Yeah,
anyways.
minus the child orgy, but we're good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
minus that, but
I mean, yeah, but it's just I like the idea of stories that are told like that, where it lures you in to be safe, and even the smartest people can realize that this feels too safe or something like that. It's just I like it. I like that it can get almost anybody. Buddy, it makes me feel like I'm not a fucking dumbass if I fell for it.
Yeah, that makes you. Doesn't make you feel like you're a horror movie character like La Llorona.
It doesn't make me feel like I'm one of the black guys in a horror movie.
All right, bro.
I mean, true, bro. They have like the worst track record.
On God, on God.
Sadly.
Like they are misrepresenting their community.
Wasn't that movie Nope that came out like a horror movie or thriller movie?
Yeah.
Dude, I
Is it
still
the,
have yet to see it. I heard it was so good, but I still have yet to see it.
That's the one with the black guy, and he meets the white family, right? No, that's Get Out.
Yeah,
Sorry.
let's get it. Like same Jordan Peele directed that one, and it's I don't think they're related, but it's like I don't know, similar style, I guess, or whatever. But yeah, no, those movies were crazy. Yeah, like I said though, I still have yet to see Nope. But yeah,
Passing away
yeah.
from the TV show thing though. It's it's stuff like this, you know, like these are used as legends to teach you not to trust what even those that you would like love the most, right? Like the case of the Wendigo. That is, you know, it could be your dad or your mother or, you know, it could be your grandfather or your brother, but even then you couldn't trust them at winter because they might actually try to fucking eat you. They might, you know, do something
wasn't the whole
depraved.
thing with the Wendigo like they mask their voice like be someone who you know?
Yeah. It's a very scary thing because they want you to trust them at least for a little bit so they can get you and then eat you, and then you know, because that's this whole stick, and the actual idea behind that story is very very scary, in the fact that you just can't trust everybody that you think you can. Same things with like La Llorona, I guess, you know, you'd trust your mom, you know, wouldn't you? And then I guess she just drowns you to get back at your dad. Like, it's funny, but yeah, it's also fucked up.
Lol, get fucked.
Huh? L.
Bet you wish you were Aquaman now, huh?
Bruh.
Miss me with that Superman bullshit.
It's fucking dumb. That is so fucking dumb.
Well, anything else to share about the Wendigo?
Yeah, it's coming.
That's
I am.
I am him.
I do have one small
He's
story.
literally me. Kills my entire family.
One small story that is more of a creepypasta-ish, like very far out of here about the Wendigo. Is this was supposedly a story that happened to a hunter, because while he was hunting, he decided, you know, it was a man who was out in the it was more east in the United States, more inland states. He was out hunting by himself, and when it got dark, you know, he still wanted to keep hunting, and he just so happened to have night vision
How the
goggles.
freak would you do that?
I don't know. People are stinky, but he had night vision goggles on him.
Oh,
So
never
I
mind.
actually ended up seeing the video of this. It was fucking creepy. So while he was in the forest, it was probably edited, but he was looking around for animals, you know, and then he spots a person in the woods. And you can make it out by the way they look that they're in like a dress. Like it looks like a woman who's just in a dress. And then the next thing you see, it doesn't look like a woman, it looks like a man or something like that. And you could start to hear like calls out in the, you know, wilderness and everything like that. You'd hear calls, and he started getting freaked out because the calls
Fucking
started to sound like
skinwalkers.
it started to sound like his mom and dad. And that's one thing too, that some people mistake the Wendigo with skinwalkers too. They, you know, the Wendigo will mimic the people you know and like mimic their voices and their behaviors because they can like read your mind or whatever to try and convince you that they're okay so that they can try to kill you. I haven't done much on skinwalkers. I know it's kind of like a little local joke or whatever, but like, oh, the skinwalker's coming. But that's just,
Yeah, I
I've
think
noticed
that
there's,
that one's definitely more of like a fake, like definite like creepypasta origin sort of thing.
Yeah.
like you walk up to your,
but,
you walk up to where he's like, hey dude, your dog's so nice. It's like, what dog? He's like, oh, you know, the little corgi you have over there. It's like, my corgi died 3 years ago. And you're just sitting there and staring at each other like,
Dude, that Kai, the story you
the
told was literally just like that instance we had in RDR when it was at night, we were hunting or whatever, and you scoped in and you just saw a lady with a lantern walking throughout the forest.
Oh my god, I forgot about that interaction.
And
Fuck that shit.
I was like, no way. And I pulled out my scoped rifle and I look, and there was just a lady, like, walking
Yeah.
in the middle of the forest. Like, there was a road right next to it, but she's walking in the forest with a lantern.
Yeah, and she was like in a nightgown and everything. I was like, what the fuck? I tried to shoot at her, but I couldn't. She was like grayed out and everything. I was like, what the fuck is this?
It was like, it was one of those stranger interactions.
Yeah,
I went
it
up
was.
to her and it was one
Yeah,
of
we
those, and I
found
was like,
he
oh
went up
my
to her.
God.
I didn't want to go near her, dude. I thought I was gonna get fucking like clapped, you know. But yeah, it was just a stranger interaction. But it's those kind of things. It's scary as fuck when you see people out of nowhere like that. Even though it's you're told to never trust those people, but sometimes you do want to trust them because maybe they might be in danger. They play on those types of fears though.
No,
But
dude,
that's
I never trust them that's out there.
Something I wanted to add about the Skinwalker thing is, have you guys seen Mandela Catalog at all?
I have not.
Oh, it's basically this thing. It's like a ARG. That's what it is. But it takes place in this town, and the population's only like 800. But there's these things called duplicates, and they basically do like the Skinwalker shit, where like they could kill someone, and then take their they can like take their appearance, but it'll be like slightly off or like distorted. And they'll also take the voice, but it sounds kind of like scratchy on a VCR.
Oh, give me a sec.
And fuck, what was I gonna say? God damn it. Anyway, uh, yeah, I just wanted to bring that up in hopes that someone in here knew what I was talking about. It's basically like the Skinwalker stuff, but they make it more like demonized and scary.
I like the idea of that though, because it kind of harkens back to the story from 1910 about the Wendigo, where what is it? Like when he hears the Wendigo call out, he hears that it sounds rough and demanding, but also like sweet and sincere at the same time. Which, of course, there's no voice that can do that, but it leaves it up to the imagination. It's like, well, if you're in a situation like that and you hear that kind of thing, it's like it doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel like that could ever be real. And and then you get scared shitless when something like that might happen because it's in the back of your head. Is like, what if it did? And what
For
the
what? Like, are you talking about like these stories in general?
Yeah, it's one of those
Yeah.
things where like Brendan was telling me about his thing, and
Mandela Catalog.
he was telling me about the voices, in the ways that
Oh,
they
yeah.
mimic people. It's weird. It's weird to hear things be mimicked to be human. That shit is scary as fuck.
Yeah, dude, it's
Yeah, and
mind-boggling.
kind of like a side derailment, but a movie that I appreciate that kind of did that was The Thing. You remember where they were at the Arctic exploration thing, and the
Oh
parasite,
yes, yes,
they
yes.
melted it, and then it escaped and started replacing people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that type of genre is just like super interesting to me because it both plays on like a
It plays.
horror like monster scale and like a kind of like a psychological thing because they have to pull them in and bait them.
It plays on your fears of wanting to. It plays on your your need to help people because we like to help people, at least most of the time. It plays on you trying to be a hero, and then
Oh,
it
cheaters.
makes you doubt having to actually be a hero.
Yeah.
But let's see here. While Dylan is busy, I'm also going to bring up another thing that is very different in folklore, which is of course the werewolf
Mhm.
or werewolf as in Old English, or man-wolf as it's been called, or occasionally lycanthrope. Which lycanthrope comes from an ancient name, aka Leucanthropus. Ancient Greek is fucking whack. Or wolf human, where a king, of course, decided to say, "Hey, yo, Zeus, you ain't shit, bro. Fuck off." Threw up gang signs at him, and then Zeus cursed him into becoming a wolf. And supposedly his name like had the word like lichen in it, so that's where like the whole thing of like lycanthrope comes from.
So like ancient furries.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah. But yeah,
Bruh.
they were either purposely or be placed under a curse so that they could, become the affliction of it. And I believe the first like things of lycanthropes were first recorded in 26 through 66. Like that's it.
Damn.
Like 0027.
Of what?
They were playing since the beta.
Yeah, since like the fucking after the like a couple years supposedly after the birth of Christ, like 27 to 66, I believe is when the first
Yeah,
one.
they're not like pre-order beta. They're like season 1.
Yeah, yeah. There's also another case, of course, about Gervas of Tilbury from like 1150 to 1228. As well, there's another case. There's been a lot of cases in France as well where some people have actually admitted that they are werewolves, but it's most likely that they just had rabies. So that's why they would like foam at the mouth and all that kind of shit. But there were people who actually
Yeah.
like killed others and then claimed that they were werewolves, and they were like actually held in a court of law about it, which is a little fucking weird to think about.
Damn. Imagine being. Okay, I want you guys to imagine this. Imagine being a judge in a court in that era, right? You wake up one day, it's like, all right, let's see what's on the docket for today. Werewolf. What the fuck?
The
Like, how would you deal with that? Like, you bring this shit into my court, he could murk us all.
like the fuck is a werewolf?
It's like, what the fuck is this? What is the law supposed to do about this?
We don't have fucking laws against curse of fucking wolf. I don't know. I know this dude's stupid.
The dude that's a
I'm outta here.
werewolf
I'm
is just
moving.
like, so I'm free.
Yeah.
It's like so, like I mean, this has never happened, so there are no laws against me, right?
They're like,
But
well,
yeah,
yeah, I
that's
guess.
that's my
Well, I guess.
that's my creepypasta though. So Dylan, I think you had one more.
Ooh, it's Krampus time. Ooh.
I didn't like that. Stop that.
Oh Jesus Christ!
You shut the fuck up now.
At least 8 more minutes of this shit. Oh my god.
Yeah. So, what do you want from me again? What am I doing here?
Your fucking second story.
No, I live in
You
a
did
one-story
the
house.
lady
What are
in
you talking about?
white, and then you the.
Guys,
Oh
guys,
my
guys,
God.
guys.
I'm going to fucking punch you.
Krampus is a horned anthropomorphic figure in Central
Oh,
and
yes, I was talking
Eastern
about Krampus.
Alpine
No, shut up,
folklore
shut up.
Europe.
God
Shut
damn
up,
it.
shut up,
Who,
bro. Shut
during
up,
the
bro.
Advent
Shut up, bro.
season,
Shut up, bro.
scare-
Just shut up. Just shut up, bro. Just stop. Just stop. Krampus, like to put it generally, like very, very generally, just broad statement. He's quite literally Santa's opposite in a way, but at the same time, Santa's absolutely evil, and Krampus can be seen like it can be seen either way. It really just depends on what you think or feel, or if you care at all.
Just picture the Junkrat skin. Look up Junkrat skin, Krampus.
Yeah,
That's pretty much what
yeah,
it looks
literally,
like.
he's like,
He looks like a goat. He looks like a fucking walking man goat, okay, with horns
Yes.
and
So
like a
He's the
forked tongue.
goat.
he's
the
a half
goat.
goat, half demon monster that is like pretty much based on the devil, and I'm not really sure where the goat part comes from. There's a couple reasons behind it, but they don't make sense at all. It's I don't know. I feel like it's mainly Germany, but it's Central European. I'd say like Central Eastern European. Very popular legend. Yeah, half goat, half demon monster, and he punishes the misbehaving children at Christmas time. So that's where it comes in. Like Santa knows if you're naughty, aka Krampus knows if you're naughty.
He'll send the ops.
Exactly. Krampus, he is the ops. He is quite literally a
This isn't-
companion
this-
of
this
Saint
is-
Nicholas and
This isn't
What?
very scary. This isn't very scary.
well, that's because I haven't told any like actual stories of like what he does to punish children and
We're still
stuff
struggling
like
to
that.
describe him, Kai. Give us time.
Yeah,
Did
he's
you
kinda
know
weird.
in the 1900s there was a greeting card reading greetings from Krampus, where Krampus would be seen stuffing children into a sack?
Yeah, thanks for spoiling a lot of things. idiot.
Fuck you.
God. What was that?
You
Anyways,
just want to ruin everything.
Yeah, I
dude,
do.
I can't have a say in anything.
I wonder what prehistoric fucking Santa Claus looked like.
Can I talk? God. The nerve on this guy.
I swear.
Anyways, most people believe Krampus to have originated in Germany, and his name comes from the German word Krampen, which means claw. Because man had some talons, I'll tell you that. Let's see here.
Bro had some fingies.
Yeah. Pretty much, he did so many things to punish children. There's been stories of it would start off as certain hauntings around Christmas time, and then Christmas Eve is when he would actually go and either take them for the night and punish them and instill all these morals in them to never do this again. And then take them back in the morning or something like that, or sometimes they would be never seen again.
I do remember there was a Christmas movie about Krampus one time that
Yeah, I was about to bring that
yeah,
up.
it scared the shit out of me when I was a kid, but
That shit was fucking terrifying.
I think it was where
The
he
Krampus movie.
yeah, he came in and he either killed or he took all of this kid's family members and eventually took the kid. And when the kid woke up, his family was regular but also happy. He realized they were in a snow globe on his fucking shelf or something like that. Forever punished to be there until they could learn how to love each other as a regular loving family.
Yeah, it was this whole family, this whole extension of a family. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just want a quick summary. Whole extension of a family got together for Christmas time. They all pretty much hate each other, and you can tell throughout the whole movie. It's kind of hilarious. Then, their, great grandma or whatever is, pretty much fully German, and
She's sitting
she's
there be rid of the Krampus, you stupid bitch. She's actually telling that to her grandson. She told it to her grandson, and, his dad's like, oh, grandma, did you take too much booze again? Oh, you silly bitch. And then,
Oh, you silly motherfucker. I hate you.
and then, she gave him the bell that said, Krampus scratched on it, which is already terrifying enough. And when his family pissed him off, the kid's like, man, fuck you guys. And he wishes for them to, go to hell or something like that. And then Krampus comes oh, well, I guess I will do that, huh?
in the movie, too, he was, a 9-foot tall,
Dude, fuck that.
It was...
I remember...
And, his mouth would open up, too, and it was...
I remember the trailer, you were, there was an outside perspective because they were trapped in by a snowstorm. That's why they couldn't run away. And, his sister was trapped in a car with her boyfriend because they were trying to sneak away on Christmas.
Yeah.
And they looked over on the roof and they saw, a 9 to 10 foot tall, fucking hunched over goat demon with horns pouring out, staring over them and then just going... And then, a bunch of elves in the snow going, and start banging on the windows and doors and, going at them.
Yeah, that's the sounds elves make.
Yeah, definitely. He had, this... In the movie, anyway, he had, a big fur, cloak, pretty much.
I think it was supposed to be, Santa's, but, really dirty.
Yeah, it was just, a gray, dark fur, cloak on him. So, depictions in books and stuff, he looks like a goat demon thing and doesn't have any clothes on or anything really, but in this one you could just see his
A lot of gods and demons and shit really have a problem with being naked.
Yeah, bro, put some clothes on, jeez.
Dude, at least put on some khaki shorts.
That's the most terrifying thing ever.
Yeah, no, they did him really well in the movie. I heard the movie wasn't that good.
Well received.
Yeah, or that because it's absolutely terrifying. And he also had these little henchmen too, which I don't think were part of the original thing at all. I think
they were meant to be evil elves or something like that.
Pretty much, yeah.
I do remember one scene though where they're in the basement of where you can see this Jack in the Box toy is in the corner fucking eating. God. He's eating one of his cousins, just devouring his cousin whole, and you can just see it going and leave him alone, and it's just going or whatever. You can see his fucking jaws and teeth and everything just devouring it with blood all over its face. It was a good movie.
Yeah. Anyways, back to the original story of it. Krampus would also harm adults sometimes. He would take them and like if they've just been bad their whole life, and like it, in the movie too, is a family, and like they tormented everyone there. I think except for Grandma. Grandma was just built different because she
No, Grandma
knew.
got killed.
Oh, rip Grandma then.
Yeah,
Uh,
the only one who survived was the little boy who Krampus would like hold his hand out for like the bell, and he gave it to him and everything. And then he was like, "All right, see." And he's like, "I want my family back." And all of his
oh,
elves are like laughing. He's like, "You want your family back? Then come here." He grabs and just throws him in the fucking sack. He's like, "You want to bitch about shit too? I'll take your ass too."
because like, wasn't it like the little boy was the only one that wanted to try and bring the family together, and he
Yeah,
was trying to love everyone, and
he was the only good one, basically. And the grandma was held at fault because she didn't keep her family together.
yeah, and she felt like she knew what she did too. That's why I think that's why I felt bad for her, is because she knew what she did and she knew what would come of it.
What was coming?
Yeah,
But
I mean,
that's
she
just
got what was coming.
the terrible price of Krampus, I guess.
Yeah. Anyways, like it was mainly the small children to like instill in them that early on, so that they would never do it again, and also because it's a horror like children's tale that parents would read to them so that they wouldn't do that in the first place. But traditionally, he carries a rootin bundle or birch rod to whip those who have misbehaved, and
Oh, I
chains to bind those who have strayed from the straight and narrow path of, like moral righteousness or whatever.
I forgot about that. I remember watching an American Dad episode about that shit. There was a American Dad episode where
Guys, this is just like American Dad.
yeah, it was Stan's dad became Krampus out of nowhere for no fucking reason, and then he started going around whipping kids with that fucking thing.
Huh.
Anyways,
Yeah,
sorry.
other sources have said, this one here, quote unquote, is Krampus is the Christmas version of the Scared Straight program.
It's a pretty good summary.
Bro,
Whereas
what
Santa
the
leaves
fuck?
coal for somewhat naughty kids, Krampus is known to prefer corporal punishment. Beats naughty children with branches
Holds
or
you for
that.
treason in the Supreme Court.
Yeah, he holds like court hearings and stuff, and carries out sentences.
Yeah, I will always remember his catchphrase from the Krampus movie. Hope you got a lawyer.
Anyways,
I'm suing your ass.
he would use that birch rod whip looking thing. He would beat them, and then he would throw him in his sack, and he would drag them back to his lair where there was like his evil elves or like these other tiny little creatures that would just like scare them
The evil
and
elves are
like
just Andrew Tate meat writers.
torment them. And yeah, one of his henchmen was like named Andreas Tatum or something like that. And
Oh my god, you shut up.
Fucking as you're getting like dragged into his lair, all you hear is just like overlaying fucking.
What colour is your
Andrew
Bugatti?
Tate audio is like, what colour is your Bugatti? Do you even drink sparkling water? Imagine not dealing around with human trafficking.
Okay. Enough with the political shit.
anyways,
Human trafficking.
I thought we moved on past that motherfucker.
Never.
and there were certain ways to like keep him and his little gang of demons away. There was like rituals people tried and everything, and like I don't know, it got pretty crazy, and like everyone else was like, bro, we're just trying to tell some stories here. But
Do you not like summon shit?
they even
at the
some
campfire
people
place?
have found like maybe some relations to Krampus in the Bible, which I think is kind of far-fetched. Some people believe that he's a pagan supernatural who was assimilated to the Christian devil, which I feel like he's just supposed to be sort of a representation of, but he's like his own story because it's mainly just Christmas time and like the opposite of Santa or whatever. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, the Bible thing is, I think it's a little far fetched.
Yeah, that's to like sum up Krampus. There's
Although
obviously so many like,
I-
different stories of like.
I know Krampus wasn't always originally associated with Santa Claus because Santa Claus, of course, is based off a real person named Saint Nicholas. And I know Krampus existed long before him, I'm not sure where Krampus comes in though to be related to it, because I think they just happened around the same time, so people started associating them with each other.
Yeah.
But that's the general tale, is that they are two opposites of each other.
Yeah, it's kind of whack. But it's a very interesting story, to say the least. Oh, also I was wrong about, like, he doesn't come on Christmas Eve. Uh, there's a day, December 5th, every year across Germany and some other European countries, and apparently Australia, because why not? It's called Krampusnacht.
That fucking
Uh,
sucks.
yeah, pretty much. It's the
So
it's
so Krampus just has like a night of trolling.
it's pretty much Judgment Day for children. Yeah.
Jesus
Apparently,
Christ.
it's the day before, or the night before the celebration of the feast of Saint Nicholas, a night when people dress up as the Devil Krampus and chase naughty children through the streets.
Yeah, I looked up a photo of people
Imagine
dressed up as him, and it's fucking terrifying.
imagine that night, like you're just a kid, fucking like laying down, going to bed, and Krampus just appears beside you, fucking Reinhardt ult with his fucking staff, just saying, "I'm gonna go," and it fucking like snaps your spine.
Pulls a Bane and just no. I've
I just
heard. I remember listening. Sorry. I remember listening to some podcast episodes on him, and like what stories, whatever people I listened to, like what they had gathered, and they told one of a little boy who, like, for the first time, his mom had read the Krampus story to him because I guess he was just kind of being a little stinky that year. And it was like old time Germany up in the mountains somewhere. Dude, oh my gosh. I remember listening to this when I was like falling asleep one night, and I woke up the next morning and wanted to die. I don't know why I did that before, like while falling asleep. Like terrible dreams, bro. Anyways. And then he's like, "Nah, I'll be chilling, Mom. Just die. All right, just go away." And she was like, "Fine, so be it. Have fun." And I think it was like she herself didn't really believe in the Krampus thing, but she was trying to get her son to be good because she had a little bit of worry in the back of her mind, because these things are terrifying. These stories are,
yeah.
And then that night, like, I think they said like one of Krampus's little helpers or whatever was sent down and was starting to like leave little signs and like sort of haunting this boy and like making him worried and stuff, and then left signs of like Santa was there or something like that, and like lured him outside. And as soon as he was outside, Krampus was like on the roof and just swept him up in his bag and dipped. And then the mom wakes up and just hears like just thumping footsteps on the roof, and then sees a creature in the night jump down into like the dark snow and then just like run away. She goes outside and like sees the footprints and stuff, and she's like, "Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way this thing's actually real." I was playing, but I guess not. And so the story was like she followed the footsteps through the mountain. Like she went inside and got some warm clothes and then followed it like up into the mountain. I was like, why? Why, bro? Why? Why even try and save that child? He hated you.
Why even bother?
Yeah.
It's already done.
Yeah, it's
Damage is
like
done.
he's
Don't
gone,
make
bro.
don't make it more damage.
And then I
You're
think
purposely
like
throwing.
she kept getting haunted by different helpers at like different stages of her journey or whatever, as one does apparently. And she'd like just fend them off with some cane or stick she had because she's built like that. But pretty much in the end, she ended up getting captured too, and like saw her son being boiled alive to be eaten or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a ton of stories like that, but yeah. Anyways, that's my summary of some German folklore tales that have been told everywhere.
We have a very small bit amount of time left, but there are one other thing I can mention really quickly.
Well, we can go as long as we want, bro. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I'll go as long as that damn well please.
yeah, but I'm tired. So,
5-hour podcast. 5-hour podcast.
fuck yeah. So
24-hour button.
probably the most famous in the in North America though, or not, I don't know, just America. fucking the most famous cryptid, besides like the Wendigo and all that shit, of course, has to be Bigfoot or Sasquatch or whatever, which
Yeah,
is
my
something we never
boy.
talked about. And it's supposed to be said that Bigfoot weighs about 500 pounds or about 227 kilograms. And
Damn, fat
he's
fuck.
been
Yeah,
reported
jeez.
between 7 to 10 feet or 2 to 3 meters tall. And the main
Oh,
obsession,
so it's
like,
just a literal titan.
yeah, the main obsession started with him back in like 1958 when a bulldozer operator named Jerry Crew discovered a set of large human-like tracks in Humboldt County, California. When he told his
Jerry
coworkers
Smith.
about his discovery, they shared similar experiences, and soon the whole crew was referring to the creature as Bigfoot. The press got hold of the story, and the rest is history. I have seen a few documentaries about that, and most footage of Bigfoot was always captured on really shitty cameras, and they've always been kind of disproven, like that they couldn't be real. And it's always been shown that all the footprints of Bigfoot were just people using molds of big ass ape feet to walk in the
Yeah.
woods to like sell them to people and be like, oh, you got Bigfoot's thing, give you like give it to you for like $200. It's a thing of mud and stuff like that. But the idea that Bigfoot could be real goes far back. Actually, is about 1,000 years ago, with a tribe known as the Yukuts in Central California, drawing images of people to believe to be the actual families of Bigfoot. Drawings of Bigfoot have been found, and people that look like him and all that kind of shit have been found, for fucking years of Native Americans. So
Yeah.
yet
Yeah.
yet again, more shit comes from the Native Americans. What more can white people steal? And
Well, they'll
this
find a way.
and the
First we steal their land to make Walmarts.
Now
and
we
now we
steal
steal
their
their
beef.
folklore to make merch.
And 16th and 17th century is when Europe, of course, came to America, and they've reported to start saying Los Vigilantes and Dark Watchers in the forests, as they called them, which more than
Nice.
likely could have been just fucking Native Americans. But the idea that they saw something like that, even far back as 16th to 17th centuries, and we're still talking about these kind of things today, is fucking creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like,
Definitely makes you think there's something going on.
to me, I don't know why, but it's kind of like creepy and it's just weird because it's completely different from like anything that's ever recorded in history. You know what I mean? And we don't have like good records of it. But I feel like they're just vibing. You know what I mean? Out in the forest, people keep trying to find them. They're like,
just
bro, can you
chilling.
just leave us alone? My God. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, imagine I have to move every time like a human like sees your house. Like, oh god damn it, I'm gonna get doxxed.
Well, I
The other
mean,
thing
yeah.
too is I remember seeing a post, I don't know, maybe a month ago or a couple weeks ago,
Oh,
that there was another like like better quality picture like sighting of a Bigfoot.
Yeah, I saw that a little bit ago as well, yeah. But it was still in pretty shitty quality. It was like in 4080p, which
Yeah.
still
Um,
kind of makes me pissed off that even in the modern age, we can't get a clear image.
well, one thing I wanted to add on the Bigfoot. Have y'all ever heard of the motherfucking legend Peter Kane dog training?
I
Excuse
have
me?
not.
This man is the man that had multiple sexual encounters
With Bigfoot.
with female Bigfoot,
Oh my
Bruh.
god.
where he claims he was sexually assaulted.
What?
I think he just got assaulted by some
And dude,
hillbillies.
Yeah, probably.
dude, you gotta look up the videos. Peter Kane dog training,
It was probably
female Bigfoot.
just some
Like,
WNBA players.
Like, I remember this one clip where he was chilling out at his barn with his crow that he shit talks. And he was like, he was just he keeps talking about how he was sexually assaulted by Bigfoot, female Bigfoot, and how it went down for like 7 minutes.
Bro, I was just watching too much Attack on Titan.
Bro, to anyone for whatever reason, if you're watching this, first of all, you're making a mistake. Second off, look up Peter Kane dog training, female Bigfoot.
And also go watch Krampus.
He is just deranged.
Yeah.
Getting back to the
But, yeah.
little lore aspect of this, though, the Bigfoots, for example, in Native Americans were very differently, just like every folklore did. Some were described merely as passive watchers, while others were monsters and demons that were said to steal away unlucky tribespeople in their sleep. Every year,
course.
people claim to have seen Bigfoot, and several dubious photos of the creature have been taken over the years.
Dubious.
Dubious.
Yeah, in 2002, though, you know how I talked about in 1958, the crew that saw him in California? Well, in 2002, the family of Ray Wallace, a member of the 1958 crew, revealed that their father had played a prank on his crew by using wood-carved feet to leave the tracks.
Huh.
Yeah.
L.
Most sightings are seen mainly in Washington and Oregon, but some are seen as far down as like New Mexico and most of the way down California. But most are in Washington, and the rest are mainly in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it's creepy to think about though. Like the only that we'd have like some kind of like intelligent apes out there that are just like fucking around and be like, you know, and then just waiting in the woods for us.
Yeah, like hyper intelligent apes.
Like, it's terrifying to think that anything out there could be as smart as us, which is, you know, fucking, ugh. I hate the idea of
Yeah,
that.
it's a scary thought to have.
It was whack.
But that is most of the, you know, some of the more popular creepypastas that are both in here in North America and, of course, over in Germany and in Europe. There are a few others, of course, like Mothman and the Chupacabra as well, that are also...
Oh shit,
Oh my
Mothman.
gosh, I forgot
He my
about
homie.
the Chupacabra.
There's also the Jersey Devil and also the Mongolian death worm. And one
There's
more
also
thing would
the,
be...
there's also the state of Ohio.
Yeah. There's also the Yeti as well.
Oh, the Yeti!
Can't forget about the Yeti.
Yeah, baby! Dude, Yeti is just goated. That's it. Yeti and Bigfoot are just goated to me. I don't know why.
Giga Chads.
Albino
Exactly,
Bigfoot.
bro.
But anyways,
You want to polish off there?
yeah.
Thank
I
you
would-
for listening to the podcast, everybody.
Shut up, you're not
If you
Sam
did,
Elliott.
Neither are you.
Fuck you.
Shut the fuck up.
Fuck you, bitch.
No.
Okay.
I'd rather not.
Thank you for listening. As of course, it's always been a pleasure talking. Don't shut the fuck. I swear to fuck. All right. Thank you for listening, and we'll see y'all in episode 6, I
help me.
suppose. All right. Bye.
Later.
Bye.
Later.
Bye. You want to hear my Rick impression? Sign me up for the new Rick and Morty voice. Ready? Here we go. Hello, everybody. My name is Rick.